Tell me where the beginning, the middle, and the end is. Break it down for me. Most people go, okay, beginning of the goal, first 10 days, day 1 through 10. I go, okay. I go, where's the middle? They go, day 11 through 20. Where's the finish? Day 21 through 30. The reality is the beginning is day 1, the middle is day 2 through 29, and the finish is day 30. If I say to the average real estate agent, tell me your 5 words you think of when you think of goal, they say hustle, willpower, discipline, grind, sacrifice. They never say joy, laughter, fun, fulfillment. And the problem is it doesn't work. When you pick something that you don't enjoy doing and you don't find out how to make it fun, you're less likely to succeed.
What up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. And today we are with Jon Acuff. Guys, we have a treat for you today. He wrote the New York Times best-selling book, Finish. I'll tell you what, before I even tell you why, I want you to go to davidsfreebook.com. Again, davidsfreebook.com, and just download a copy of Finish on Audible, on audio, because you're going to super enjoy it, and it's fantastic. It's funny. It's tons of energy, and it just makes a lot of sense. All right, that said, Jon is about getting things done, right? Finding ways to complete the projects we all start. I know most of us are real estate agents. I know a lot of people, they jump into the business and they want to get started. But before they can even go on a listing appointment, they need to make sure that their flyer is perfect, right? They have to have the perfect flyer, the perfect listing presentation. Everything has to be perfect or they don't start. Or, lead generation, another perfect example. Well, I need to know my scripts. I got to know my scripts perfectly before I can make any calls. So then I got to find role play partners, but I can't really role play because, well, I'm going to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about with my role play partner, so that doesn't work. So then I got to study my scripts, and it just turns into this big circle of never doing anything because we always have to have things line up perfectly before we get started. So what happens is we don't even make our calls. We're not successful in real estate. Then we leave real estate and say, well, real estate doesn't work. Anyway, that's a pretty extreme example, yet I'm sure a lot of you can relate. So Jon talks to us about how we finish things we start, right? Setting ourselves up to be successful, being a perfectionist. So this is a great little 30-minute interview, right? 30 minute. I'm just going to let that go, right? Don't have to be perfect. Just realize, listen, it's about not just starting, but finishing. And one thing he said, and then I'm going to get you into the interview, is he said that step 1 is day 1, starting. And then step 2, believe it or not, is day 2 until one day before you're finished, which would be like days 2 to 29. And then step 3 is completed, day 30. Well, most of us, we don't even make it to day 28 because on day 2, we're like, oh my God, this is such hard work. Anyway, listen, you guys rock. I really hope you enjoyed Jon. I appreciate you guys for listening to the podcast and sharing the podcast. And it's been awesome. It's just been an awesome run, and I want to keep this going. So keep it up, keep sharing, keep listening. If you would please give a review, it helps tremendously. I'll be honest, it helps tremendously for listenership, and then I can continue to get amazing interviews like this Jon. I mean, come on, you guys, and Gary V and Tom Hopkins, and just so many of them. So that's all because of you guys listening. Enjoy the podcast. You rock. Hey, what's up, Masters? Today I am with Jon Acuff. Jon, first off, thanks for spending some time with us, man.
Of course.
Yeah, man, it's definitely an honor. So Jon is a New York Times bestselling author of 6 books, including his most recent, Finish, Give Yourself the Gift of Done, which we're going to certainly spend a lot of time talking about. And that's the book that I really became aware of you. I read that book and I was like, wow, that was amazing. So for 20 years, he's helped some of the biggest brands in the world tell their story, including Home Depot, Bose, Staples. Most recently, he's spoken to hundreds and thousands of people across the country for companies such as Microsoft, Nissan, Comedy Central, featured regularly on national media. Jon has also been seen on CNN, Fox News, Good Day, LA, and several other key outlets. He's also written for Time, the Harvard Business Review, Fast Company, Reader's Digest, and MSNBC, and now on Path to Mastery. So, hey, man, thanks for spending some time with us.
Yeah, very cool.
Listen, I was saying, I picked up your book, Finish. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So I want to start off by first, tell us what is the essence of the book?
Yeah, the essence is that starting is fun, but the future belongs to finishers. So it's a focus on the things that, scientifically speaking, make it easier for you to finish. 92% of all goals fail. And so we did a pretty big research study on why that happens and how to prevent it. So that's the essence of the book.
So why do so many people, Jon, everybody starts, we have great ideas, but what gets in the way of actually finishing?
Well, it's a whole list of things, but sometimes it's counterintuitive things that we don't even think about. Often it's that we picked a goal that's too big or the goal that's the wrong size. And so we tend to think culturally, I got to go big or go home. It's got to be a massive goal. And instead, we really need to be deliberate about picking something that's the right size for us.
And so is there a process for somebody listening to this? I mean, when we think, okay, yeah, I want to do this. And to me, in my mind, that sounds great. I'm going to go write a book. How do I kind of chunk that down to say, okay, does this make sense? Is it too big? Is it not? Do we talk to somebody else? What does that process look like?
Yeah, well, there's really 3 dials when you think about it. Any kind of goal has 3 dials. There's the result you want. Okay, so I want to finish a book. There's the timeline. Okay, and I want to do it by this timeline. And then there's the actions. And here's the actions I'm going to take. So a lot of it is saying, if you haven't written for 10 years, your book shouldn't be done in 10 days. It's same with losing weight. If somebody tells me I put on 50 pounds over the last 5 years, they shouldn't expect to take it off in the next 5 days. It took a long time to get on. Why do we think the results are going to be fast? So a big part of it is saying, if somebody said to me, I want to write a book, I'd say, why don't we write a chapter? Let's write a chapter. Let's chunk it down. Let's succeed at that. And then let's move from there. Versus the problem is people go, let's use fitness as an example. It's such a popular topic. People go, hey, I'm going to start running. I'll go, that's great. And they go, yeah, I'm going to do a marathon. And I go, have you ever done a half marathon or a 10K or a 5K or just a K? And they go, no, I'm really inspired. So I'm going to buy a bike and do the Ironman. And then they inevitably quit because the problem is we're the highest motivated at the beginning, but the motivation goes away. And so we do these huge goals because our motivation is huge. And then we end up failing. And that's part of the big challenge right out of the gate.
So setting a goal that you're just kind of, it's too overwhelming to begin, and then you just get started, and then you find yourself so far off. You're like, oh my God, I can't do anything with this. Is that why people quit? A lot of people quit halfway through, or maybe not even halfway through, right?
No, most people give up on day 2, statistically speaking. Yeah, day 2, because they think the problem is, let's say a 30-day goal. Most people, if I say to you, hey, tell me where the beginning, the middle, and the end is. Break it down for me. Most people go, okay, beginning of the goal, first 10 days, day 1 through 10. I go, okay. I go, where's the middle? They go, day 11 through 20. Where's the finish? Day 21 through 30. The reality is the beginning is day 1, the middle is day 2 through 29, and the finish is day 30. And so the work shows up so much faster. The other problem is that when you announce your goal the wrong way, you're scientifically less likely to do it. So what happens is, say I go, I'm going to run a marathon. People pre-congratulate me. They go, good for you. What discipline. I couldn't do that. And my body hears that and releases dopamine. And it's enough of a high that it satisfies me and I don't actually do the race. At dinner parties, whenever I tell people I write books, they go, I've always wanted to write a book. And they expect me to be good for you. Way to be brave. That sets us up for failure because we've already gotten enough recognition that we don't do the thing. And that's the problem with social media. Social media's whole system is I announce something I'm for or against and I get rewarded and then I don't do it. So I say, I'm against this issue and everybody goes, you're so brave. Thanks for using your voice and hashtagging it. I haven't changed a single thing in my own community. I haven't gotten my hands dirty for a second. So nothing really changes. You just get to look like a hero and you've done absolutely nothing.
So then should we, because I know some of the big personal development motivational coaches say you should be announcing your big goals out there to the world to let everybody know what you're going to do because it's...
Yeah, that's fine. It's just wrong. The right way to do it is for me to say, hey, to people, say even my followers, I'm going to run 100 miles. Will you ask me once a week if I ran? You actually increase your odds if I say to you, hey, will you hold me accountable? I need to write 50 pages this week. At the end of the week, will you text me and ask me if I did it? because that holds me accountable. The whole like announce it to the universe is nonsense. Like the problem with all this stuff is it's a bunch of fake entrepreneurs saying garbage that hasn't been tested. Anything an entrepreneur says, anything a guru says, you should say, can you show me your research? And if they say, well, it worked for my own life, I built a business, that's not research. That's an anecdote from your own life. Like just because it worked for you, that'd be like Michael Jordan teaching me how to dunk and him going, I just know how to dunk. You should too. I'd go, well, I'm not 6'8". Like that's stupid. So yeah, most online entrepreneur stuff, if you say, show me the research and they can't, it's garbage. Yeah, that's why like Finish was, I hired a PhD from the University of Memphis. We studied nearly 900 people. If somebody says to me, show me your research, I drop a research report on them and go, okay, here's mine, show me yours. And then they don't have anything back. So like, no, most online stuff is just terrible.
So most of our listeners are in the real estate world. So if someone posts on Facebook, hey, I'm going to sell 100 homes this year, everybody's like, oh, that's awesome. Great goal. What would you post?
I would say I have a big goal. I've told it to my close friends. Ask me once a week if I've done the 50 calls that I need to generate the sales that I've made. So like saying I have a big goal, like, so what? Like that didn't cost me anything. I'm much more impressed when a real estate agent goes, hey, I figured out, I looked at my data from last year. I recognize I need to show 10 homes to sell one. So if I want to sell 100 homes, I need to show 1,000. That's how much it breaks down per month. That's how much it breaks down per week. Will you ask me once a week, did you show 14 homes this week? Because then I'll know if I'm on track or off track. Like, again, the big proclamation, you haven't done anything. And people go, oh, way to go. You're going to do it. You can do it. Like, but you haven't done anything. And so that's the difference. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a big goal. Like, I'm fine telling my wife, telling, my mastermind, whatever. I'm not saying you have to have secret goals nobody knows about. I just think the problem is we tend to announce things that we're not going to really do. And by announcing them the wrong way, we're actually less likely to do them. Hey, and by the way, this is research from 1935. This is 90 years of research. So like, again, if some entrepreneur tells me, no, you should speak it out into the world because the universe helps you. Like, one, that's ridiculous. Two, show me your 90 years of research and I'll totally go along with that idea.
All right, love it, man. So in something in the book you talk about is fun. It says fun's not optional, it's necessary. Yeah,
so the problem is most people think that a goal has to be miserable to count. So I'll go like, hey, what are you doing to get in shape? I go, I'm going to go running. And I'll go, do you like running? They go, no, I hate it. That's how I know it's good for me. The average real estate person, because I talk to a lot of real estate agents. I go to a lot of their events. I love real estate agents. The good ones are hustling. The bad ones don't last long. That industry kicks your butt right out if you're lazy. And so if I say to the average real estate agent, tell me your 5 words you think of when you think of goal, they say hustle, willpower, discipline, grind, sacrifice. They never say joy, laughter, fun, fulfillment. And the problem is it doesn't work. Like when you pick something that you don't enjoy doing and you don't find out how to make it fun, you're less likely to succeed. And that was another thing we studied. If you find ways to add fun to your job, you're 31% more satisfied. And the crazy thing is you're 46% more successful. If I got in front of a bunch of real estate agents and said, hey, you want to be 46% more successful this year? Figure out how to make it fun. The problem is we think it means have fun. It doesn't mean have fun. It means make it fun. Like you have to be deliberate. The reality is there's parts of your job that aren't inherently fun. There's parts of my job that aren't fun. So it's not about naturally enjoying it. It's about saying these 5 things are difficult. I'm going to find a fun angle to it. I'm going to make it a game. I'm going to make a reward. I'm going to make a consequence that I want to avoid. Like I'm going to figure out how to game this whole thing. That's what matters. And then when you have fun, we do things that we enjoy more often. Like, duh. Like the things you enjoy, you do more often. So if you find a way to enjoy your real estate career, you're going to do it more often. You're going to be better at it.
So, I mean, if you really love helping people, you could make it fun by, I'm going to help. I'm not going to sell 100 homes this year. I'm going to help 100 families getting into a home. Something along those lines?
Yeah, and I'm going to enjoy that. Or if I know, like the 2 forms of fun that scientists study are reward and fear. Now, fear means a consequence. So, like, here's an example. A buddy of mine, his business coach knows he's fear-based. He said to him, give me 3 signed checks of your money. And every time you miss a goal, I'm going to send the politician you hate the most some of your money. You better believe that motivated my friend. He was like, over my dead body, is that politician get my money? So part of it is figuring out fun ways for you to stay motivated. Like, oh, okay, I need like every 10th house I show, I get to go to a movie by myself. And if you're a parent, that's amazing to go to a movie alone, like without your kid. It's the best thing in the world. So you figure out, based on my strengths, my weaknesses, what I care about, how do I do this thing more often? How do I guarantee, like, dude, if you were a real estate agent and you had a car in mind that you always wanted and you figure out a money goal to hit that car, like hitting that car will be amazing. Like you'll be like, I actually did it. And every time I pick clients up in my Cayenne, I feel like this is a symbol of what I was able to do. And it makes me want to do it even more. Like, and that's a fun long-term goal.
I love it. I love it. It's funny. I was at an event at National Harbor about 3 weeks ago, and I went and saw the movie Alone with The Rock. What is it? With the I forget the name of it now. Anyway, the new one with The Rock with the big monkey that like.
Oh yeah, Rampage.
I'm just butchered.
Rampage.
Yeah, Rampage. Yeah, it was awesome. But like you said, it was super cool to go by myself. So
of course.
yeah. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. But listen, so talk to us about perfectionism. I know that comes up a lot in the book. How does perfectionism hurt us?
Well, I mean, one, it doesn't exist. It's a myth. So if you said to me, hey, I've got this goal and I say you were looking for treasure and I knew it didn't exist, boy, you're going to waste your whole life for something that doesn't exist. And so there's no such thing as a perfect sale. There's no such thing as a perfect year. Life just doesn't work that way. So the problem is we chase it. The real problem is it makes us quit. So a perfectionist would rather get a 0 than a C-. Here's an example. I mean, like the person with the worst office, the messiest office at your job, or the person with the messiest car is actually a perfectionist. And you go, well, how can that be? Well, what happens is if they can't clean it with a toothbrush level, like every inch, they won't even start. Same with running. I meet people all the time that are perfectionists. They go, hey, I'm going to run 5 miles every day. I only have time for 3 today, so I'm just not going to do any. And you want to go, well, 3 is way more than none. The final danger of perfectionism is it masquerades like equality. Nobody thinks like alcoholism is a positive thing, but we tend to think like when somebody goes, what's your greatest strength? We often go, I'm a perfectionist. And that's actually like a crippling thing that prevents people from finishing the work they're supposed to do. There's a million people that have gotten their real estate license and never sold a house because they've always wanted to do it, but they're afraid it won't be perfect. And I'm just here to say it won't be. That's just not how life works.
So you're referring to like somebody that before they even go on a listing presentation, they have to make sure the presentation is perfect, right? Everything's in.
Yeah, you've worked with agents before that are like, I spent 4 hours picking the perfect font for this presentation. You're like, well, that doesn't matter a lick. Nobody cares about the font. They care about how you make them feel and how the house made them feel. I guarantee there's been things where you'd said, dude, I made a couple of mistakes on this listing and I didn't feel great about the interaction. The client loved the house and they bought it and it was messy. Like it wasn't my perfect sale, but they loved it and they've referred 3 people to me and it's great. Every book I've ever written, I've had access to the best experts in the world. I published with Penguin, biggest publisher in the world, Penguin Random House. There's always mistakes. Like I said in one book that Terrell Owen caught 1,000 touchdowns in his career. He caught 100. I was off by a factor of 10. That's a huge deal. But like, I still published the book, and here's the weird thing, like nobody died. Nobody sued me. So yeah, a lot of it is we're afraid to even begin because we're afraid it won't be exactly as perfect as we want.
And it's a perfectionist, and maybe I'm misquoting it, but along the lines of, you said it's the perfectionism that tells us we can do it all.
Or that we have to do it all. Like that's the thing, like real estate agents are busy. And like, you're not going to be able to win everything. So smart people they use, there's this book, 2 Awesome Hours by this guy, Josh Davis, and he says strategic incompetence. Strategic incompetence is realizing I can't do it all. Here's the 5 things I'm not going to worry about during this season. Like during your busiest season is a dumb time to try to get in really good shape. Because guess what? You're not going to be. Like, that's okay. Like that's fine. It's your busy season. We think we have to do it all. So we try to do it all, which makes us drop every ball.
Masters, we're going to get you right back to the show. Listen, I got a couple opportunities for you right now. First off, we have RE Profit. If you are running a real estate business, my friends, then you must have a P&L, a profit and loss statement. I know far too many agents who do not. That said, RE Profit is by far the simplest solution I have used. And I'll be honest, I am using the service now. I've known about it for years, but have never switched because I was complacent using my QuickBooks. Well, I'll tell you what, this is real estate specific. It's super easy to use. It automatically pulls from your banks and your credit card transaction. It's so easy to use. All you have to do is export the file, send it to your accountant, and then you're prepped for your taxes. Guys, listen, it's like trying to drive somewhere without using navigation. Far too many agents unfortunately do that. So that said, I want you to check out RE Profit. I'm not only using it, like I said, I'm a long-time QuickBooks user. This system is just so much simpler, and it, like I said, it connects with real estate. The other great thing too is RE Profit has people that can help onboard you and get your account set up the right way and help you get everything moved into the system. And here's the best part. You can get a 30-day free trial to see if you love the service, and if you love it, then you stay with it. If you don't, then I guess you never pay anything. It's spelled REPROPHET.com/path to mastery. Again, REPROPHET.com/path to mastery, and get yourself a free 30 days and try it out and start running your business like a business. And finally, you've heard me talk about this many times, guys, Audible. davidsfreebook.com. Go to Audible right now. Get yourself a free audiobook. If you're listening to podcasts, you're just like me. You're going to love Audible. It's Amazon's book service. Go get yourself a free copy of Rocket Fuel for free. And if you love the service, then you keep using it. If you don't, you get to cancel in 30 days and then get your money back. Actually, I'm sorry, you don't even get your money back because you're never charged anything. However, you do have to give a credit card at the beginning. And here's what I would do. Give a credit card, set a reminder in your calendar for like 20 to 25 days out. They'll remind you, and if you don't love the service, then you just cancel and your card is never charged. You're going to love the service, so you're probably going to keep moving forward anyway for the $15 a month, but it's just an awesome service. So anyway, a couple opportunities. REPROPHET.com/path to mastery, and then Audible free audiobook at davidsfreebook.com. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of the show. There's something else I took a note from your book. It says, until I get X, I can't do Y, right? And that just slows people down. Talk to us about that.
Well, we make conditions. I know people who have said, I'd love to be a real estate agent, but I know they work really hard and I don't want to abandon my kids and have a marriage fall apart. And you go, dude, that's not a given. And what a great way to look noble and still be afraid. Like, oh, I can't become a real estate agent because I'm a good father. Like, oh, you're such a good guy. Like, it's until this happens, I can't do this other thing. And you set up all these conditions. Until I have a perfect outline, I can't write my book. There's no such thing. Just write your book. Until I know this market perfectly, I can't become a real estate agent. You're not going to know it perfectly. It's a big market. There's a lot of listings. It's changing every day. The regulations change every day. David Weekley Homes is building a new development you know nothing about. So like, we set up these conditions and then we don't actually do the thing because the conditions will never be perfect.
In your opinion, I mean, we talked about a lot of things right now in a short amount of time. What would you say is the biggest thing that you see get in the way of people finishing or completing?
I think often it's weird. It's actually like a secret rule they have that holds them back. And so a secret rule is kind of something you believe that you don't sometimes even know you believe. I know a lot of real estate agents that have a hard time with the fear of success, which is really the fear that I don't deserve good things. And so as their career starts to do well, they sabotage it. And the way we say it is they get in their own way. Like, it's like right as the boat is coming back into the harbor, they drill some holes in it because they're afraid of the success. So I think like there's definitely tangible, practical things that hold people back. But one of them is, okay, you might be a real estate agent that at 13, when you were 13 years old, the teacher said, you're not a good public speaker. Even now, as your company says, hey, we want you to present this way, we want you to do this, you go, no, I can't. I'm not a good public speaker. And you're operating on a rule that happened 20 years ago, but you're still letting it drive your life. And so a lot of times what holds us back is this kind of sense of secret rules of who we are and how we are.
How do we know if we have these secret rules or do we? I mean, how do we become aware of that?
A big part of it is through relationship. Perfect self-awareness is a joke. Like, you'll never be perfectly self-aware. You need other people in your life that can go, hey, dude, there's this one thing I see you do all the time that I think might be holding you back. And then you have to have the maturity and the confidence to not go like, why are you attacking me? Like, because the person wasn't attacking you. They were just saying, hey, I think if you change this, you'd be better. We need people that are on the outside of our lives to tell us what's going on the inside, because we're so close to it. It's like standing an inch away from a painting. You can't really tell what it is. You need to have somebody that's 10 feet back that'll go, oh, it's actually a sailboat. Here's what it looks like.
And what would you say to somebody, Jon, if somebody felt like they did have fear of success? How do you get beyond that?
Well, a big part of it is fear hates when you'll actually write them down. Fear loves to stay in your head. So if somebody told me I have a fear of success, I would say, well, write that down and then tell me what that means. And then they'd say, it means if I make too much money, people will judge me. And you go, okay, well, what does that mean? And it goes, it means I should fail. Failure is good. And you go, really? Or like, who would judge you? Which of these people would, a lot of it is fear is fuzzy. And the more clarity you add, the easier it is to see it's not honest. So if you told me, like, I live in a small town, this happens all the time. I had somebody tell me this the other day. They go, oh, we live in a small town. Like, we got to be careful about what kind of car we drive. I don't want to look flashy. That's fuzzy. And then I would say to them, who will judge you this way? And if they said everyone, I'd go, that's not a good answer. Who? And if they finally got it down to where, like, it's my mom. My mom will judge me, and she'll say things like, must be nice. Must be nice to have a beach house. Must be nice to take a vacation. Okay, then your mom is limiting your ability to do anything. Just so we're clear, you've made her the most powerful person in your life to the extent that, like, your wife doesn't get to take fun vacations based on your mom. Like, is that how you want to live? Or like, there's a guy in the office that gets jealous, so I have to not succeed fully because he'll get jealous. And you go, okay, well, he's your boss. Like, even though he's your peer, you've made him your boss. Like, a lot of times it's just exposing those things we're doing and going, just so we're clear, this is what's really happening. And then saying, oh, wow, I hadn't even thought about that. It is like, that's not how I want to live.
So it sounds like journaling would probably help a lot with this.
Totally. And it's not journaling in relationship. Like I talked to the New York Times about this the other day. Like, a lot of this is, okay, I need people and I need quiet. Like, I need people and I need honest reflection. Like, you do need, here's an example. Because we travel in the same spaces. Like, the guys you're inspired by, I'm inspired by. You see these entrepreneurs all the time say, like, failure is the best way to learn. No, it's not. That's garbage. Winning and asking why is the best way to learn. The problem is most of us don't ever stop and go, hey, that last sale was amazing. It crushed. I was excited. What did I do right? Like, I know, like, I talked to a business expert and he said, we got lower cubicle walls in our office and I was able to observe my guys. And I watched, because what would happen is the guy would close a sale on the phone and then he'd go around, high five, he'd talk about it, he'd go get a coffee. And by the time he got to his desk, all the momentum was gone. So he said, I made a rule that as soon as you got a sale, you had to call 6 other people right away. And he said, we closed half of those sales. So, like, I'd say that to a real estate agent. I would say, hey, here's how you learn. Like, you be self-aware. If you just like, whatever you define as the closing moment, maybe it is you're leaving the closing. I don't know in the real estate world what people would care about the most, but say you're leaving a closing, you should make 5 other calls from the parking lot and go, hey, because you're on a high. But the problem is most of us don't ever stop and go, what worked? Like, what worked about this? Oh, it was that I really, I put in personal touch. Or what worked was that I asked the right questions and I served them back the answers they were excited about. Like, that's important.
So it's almost like an energy, right? And when you have that energy going, you can feed off it, right? Lead generation.
The energy is going, the lead generation. There's all these things that you kind of think through that are important for you to carry. But a big part of it is like, okay, what worked and how do I make sure I do it again?
Well, the reason I said lead generation is because that's a time where, we're making our calls, right? And unfortunately, most agents don't do it. But when you do show up and then you have a great call, oh man, now instead of stopping and going to your database and make another call, right? Oh,
yeah. Do 5 other calls. Like, little things like that can radically change your business.
Awesome. Well, tell me what questions did I not ask that I probably should have asked you today? Anything what I missed?
No, nothing. The best way to kind of think through it, this is kind of the tip of the iceberg, is to check out, finish. It's a super fun book, and it's also on audio. So like, I know a lot of real estate agents that'll tell me, hey, no offense, dude, I haven't bought a paper book in 10 years, but I listen to audio. And so I read it. It's fun. It's funny. It's honest. And there's bonus stories in there. So I actually, what's funny, we're sales guys. I sell twice as many audiobooks as I do ebooks. And it's because I put a priority on making sure they're awesome. And so that's what I'd say. Like, if you're a real estate agent right now and you're like, dude, I already have 50,000 hats on. Because that's the problem with real estate, is that you might think you're a salesperson. You're also a therapist. Like, dude, there are people that will say to you, like, they'll tell you things they shouldn't tell a stranger. Like, as they look to pick out a house, they're like, well, I'll talk to my husband, but he's really controlling about money. And you're like, oh, like, you have to wear 50 hats. The idea of like, and I'll read a book, that's not going to happen. But it's easy to listen to books.
Listeners, you guys can actually get a free copy of Jon's book if you go to davidsfreebook.com on Audible. And again, it's David's free book, and check out Finish. The book is amazing. And honestly, Jon, I'm going to tell you, your book had me multiple times laughing out loud, which I would say doesn't happen as frequently as I'd like it to.
Yeah, I would say it's the same thing with like real estate. You figure out your niche. Part of being good at being sales is understanding who you are and who the market is. So dude, like 5 years ago, I was like, you know what? I'll never out-research Jim Collins, but I can be funnier. I'll never out-crush it Gary Vee, but I'll be funnier. I've done events with Gary Vee. I know my role. He's great at what he does, but I'll work him under the table with humor. Nobody looks at Gary Vee and is like, my favorite thing is how funny he is. That's not his jam. He's like direct and, effective and crushing it. So like, I think the same thing with real estate. You have to figure out, in this market, here's my differentiator. Like, in this market, this is the thing that I can do that nobody else can do, and I'm going to lean into it and amplify it. That's what really helps you long term.
That's a fantastic point, man. How do our listeners get in touch with you, Jon, if they want it for an event, or do you do coaching, consulting, any of that?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot more kind of one-on-one, which I've just had a blast doing, because you know how it is. Like, I guarantee you've had somebody approach you at an event and they told you their problem, and you were able to kind of diagnose it pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. A lot of it is just like, it's like getting advice from somebody on an airplane. Like, it's crazy that a stranger can go, well, it seems like this, and this are happening. You go, what? So I love doing the one-on-one coaching. I mean, the easiest way to connect with is just my website, acuff.me. It's ACUFF.me. I'm on Twitter at Jon Acuff. Instagram is Jon Acuff. It's a mix of like business stuff, but also like ridiculous things that I think are worth laughing about. Life's way too long to not laugh a lot.
You're not kidding, man. Your book is fantastic, by the way, and I've listened to it a couple of times, and I also agree with you on audio because it will make you laugh, and it's fun. And I've listened to it a couple of times as well just because it's fun. So beyond great content. So thank you for that.
Oh, thanks, sir. I appreciate that.
Two more questions. First question is really, the podcast is called Path to Mastery. So I'm just curious, when you hear Path to Mastery, what does that mean to you?
To me, it means that it takes longer than you want, and that's okay. It's not the next step to mastery. It's not the escalator to mastery. I think a path is inherently multi-day, multi-year, maybe even multi-decade. So I like that it tells people, hey, it's going to be a journey and it's going to take some time, and that's not failure.
Yeah, I believe we are always on the path, and I personally don't feel like we'll ever master anything completely, like we get to the highest levels, but there's always more to learn. So
oh yeah, and there's more to grow. Sure.
Yeah. And then the final question, Jon, is what's the one thing, I mean, everybody listens to this, if they're going to really say, I'm going to take one thing from this and I'm going to put it into use, what do you want them to take from this interview today?
I would take that it's possible. I think that a lot of what I do is I try to give people permission. I would say that most of us don't think we have permission to change our lives in ways we want to. And I guarantee, like, there's a huge joy for a real estate agent that gets their first sale and realizes, wait a second, I can do that? And I can be the one that opens the house and shows it and sells it. Like, there's this great sense of like, oh, I have permission to do that. I think a lot of us are waiting for permission from some sort of authority or, official. And I would just say that, like, you already have permission. Like, you get to do it. You get to be in the shape you want and make the money you want and have the job you want. Is it easy? No, it's not. It takes a lot of hard work. It really does. But when you do it, it's worth it. It's really, really, really fun and really, really worth it.
Just want to thank you, man, for your time. Really, really appreciate it. Fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, totally. Thanks for having me.
Masters, if you know me, you know health and nutrition is number one, and that's why I'm an advisor for AdvoCare products. Listen, in my opinion, these are the best products on the planet, guys. You get what you're supposed to get, right? I use the products for health. I use the products for energy. I use the products for wellness. So we have all the different lines from Spark, starting your day with a great energy shot, all the way to pre-workout. It's whatever your goals are, right? It's whatever your goals are. You can check out the products at www.livelongersmarter.com. That's my website. Or reach out to me, and I'd love to have a 30-minute or, anywhere from 15 to 30-minute conversation with you, just talking about your health and nutrition goals and what I can do to help you achieve those goals. So again, products, energy line, or wellness line, whether it's joints, you're getting up there in the age, you just want to take care of yourself. I'll tell you, one of the greatest compliments I get is people, you say, wow, you look amazing. I cannot believe you are the age you are. Weight loss. I've helped lots of people, guys, lose weight, not just lose it, but keep it off with the products. And the cool thing is, I'd say 75% of the people who start with our products, they continue using our products even after they initially tried them, which has been amazing. And strength, if you're into bodybuilding, then hey, Rich Fronin, okay? I don't know if you know who Rich Fronin is. He's an advocate for AdvoCare as well. So amazing products. You can see us. We're featured on NASCAR, professional soccer, college basketball, college football, Men's Health magazine last month. These are the real deal, guys. LiveLongerSmarter.com is the website, or reach out to me if you, like I said, if you want to have a personal conversation with me, just send me an email. In the subject line, just put AdvoCare products, and I'd love, like I said, schedule a 15 to 30-minute call with you to talk about your health and nutrition goals. Guys, you rock. Live longer, smarter. And as Gary Keller eloquently said, if you don't take care of your body, where are you gonna live? You rock.
You are listening to One More Sale with your host, David I. Hill, author of the Sales Playbook. Get your copy at www.thesalesplaybook.net.